Happy Christmas! Welcome to this epic beetroot Wellington with a mushroom duxelle, a spinach pancake, and encapsulated in beautiful puff pastry. This is magnificent. This is a wonderful centerpiece dish, and it's so incredibly tasty. It will take you about an hour. It feeds about 6-7 people, and it makes a wonderful centerpiece celebration meal. So first step, we're gonna make our beetroot filling. We're gonna use with beetroot, jackfruit, and cashew nuts with a nice note of thyme. So into a non-stick wide bottom pan, I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of olive oil or oil of choice. As that heats up, I've chopped 1 red onion. The reason why we're holding back adding the garlic is just that it cooks quicker, and once it goes beyond golden, it starts to add a bitter flavor. So we're gonna fry the onions until they kind of go golden. That'll take about 3 minutes, and then we're gonna fry the garlic for just 1 minute. So onions are starting to kind of just slightly go translucent and a little bit golden around the edge. I'm gonna add in our 1 clove of garlic, which we've finely diced. And we're gonna just fry the garlic for about 1 minute, just until it starts to go slightly golden. Next step, I have our grated carrot and beetroot, and then that goes into the pan. Along with that, I have a good generous pinch of salt. This is all in the pan. So there's gonna be a lot of moisture in that, so we're gonna put a generous pinch of salt just to draw some of the moisture out of the carrot and beetroot. And along with that, I have my 225 grams of jackfruit. So I just chop this nice and coarsely. When they were kind of seeds, just make sure to bigger seeds just to chop them nice and fine. So, did you know the sweetest of all vegetables is the humble beetroot? And the second sweetest is carrot. So this will kind of really help add a sweetness to kind of that nice earthy kind of mushroom duxelle. It kind of just really brings out the flavor of this dish and complements thyme so well. That's thyme as opposed to thyme. Now to add that typical festive spice. So I've got some fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, you could just use some dried thyme. So I'm going with about 4 or 5 sprigs of fresh thyme. They'll just add that lovely, fragrant, kind of typical festive note to this dish. Okay, so this beetroot Wellington is taken off a traditional beef type Wellington. So what we want to do is, at the moment it's very fragmented in terms of its texture. We want to make this a little bit more homogeneous so it actually has that appearance where it's like that kind of meaty like texture. So into the food processor, I'm gonna pop it in now and blitz it, not until it's homogeneous as in one texture, but until it's kind of got this smooth, cohesive, kind of feeling like one piece. So I'm gonna pop this in and just blend it, not until it goes homogeneous, but I really wanna bring out that just vibrant pink-like texture. So it really does look like that traditional style beef type Wellington. So you'll see I've blended it to where there's still texture to it, but it just really has that vibrant pink kind of just really incredible color. So in goes our beetroot filling just into a bowl. The main reason why we're putting into this is just to allow it to cool before we go to the next step. So I have our 200 grams of roasted cashew nuts, which I've blended up into kind of a breadcrumb-like texture, and I'm gonna add that in. This is gonna add a lovely fat, a kind of whole food source of fat, a nice bite of texture, and just to add a kind of more indulgent-like flavor profile. As we always say with cooking, just make sure to taste and adjust the seasoning as you go. So when you're tasting, you're looking for a balance between, initially with salt, is it seasoned enough with salt? Yes. Pinch of black pepper, and other than that, it's great, good to go. I'm gonna set that aside and just make our mushroom duxelle. Next step we're gonna make is a duxelle. So this is a mushroom duxelle, so it's like a mushroom paste that carries this wonderful earthy umami note, which kind of balances out the sweetness of the root veg beautifully. So our oil is nice and hot. I've got 1 red onion, which I've diced kind of nice and finely. Into the pan, I have 250 grams of chopped chestnut mushroom. You could use button mushrooms or flat cap or whatever you have. Okay, once your mushrooms have started to reduce and just started to brown ever so slightly, we're gonna add in a bit of umami. So I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon of tamari. If you don't have tamari, you could just use soy sauce or coconut aminos. Into that, I have half a teaspoon of dried thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of dried sage, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. You really want to try to spread that tamari into each mushroom so it's just such a carrier of flavor. Okay, our mushrooms look magnificent. There's almost like a caramelized kind of surface to them coming from the onions. We're gonna blend this until it reaches a nice smooth paste. Okay, looks amazing, smells fabulous. It really has that lovely kind of sweet base umami mushroom note. And I'm just gonna pop that into a bowl just to allow it to cool. Okay, time for a spinach pancake. You might be wondering, what place does a spinach pancake have in a beetroot Wellington? It adds a wonderful contrast of flavor. It adds a soft, kind of crispy layer of starch in between the flaky pastry and this incredibly decadent beetroot Wellington filling. Well worth doing, and you'll see now, trust me, it's magnificent. Okay, in our blender, we've got 60 grams of fresh baby spinach. Into that, I have 60 grams of self-raising flour. I have 125 ml of oat milk or non-dairy milk of choice, pinch of salt and pinch of black pepper. Wait for it, it's gonna be really nice, vibrant green color. Okay, time to make our pancake. It looks amazing. Make sure you get a non-stick pan, have it on a medium heat. I'm gonna put in just a little splash of oil just to ensure it really doesn't stick. It'll also give us a more caramelized crust. Once our pan is nice and warm, just add in our batter. So this is kind of more like a crepe batter, so it's quite thin. Such a beautiful color. You can see it starting to dry out around the edges. We're looking for this kind of darker green just to come all the way into the middle. And that's a sign it's ready to turn. Just carefully flip it over. Okay, cool, that's ready. Just pop it out in a plate. Little tiny dash of oil. Even though we're not even gonna bother putting in more oil. Let's go with the rest of the batter in there. Ooh, look at that. Okay, time to bring this masterpiece together. So we've rolled out one sheet of puff pastry. We're just using store-bought puff pastry. Most of it is vegan, just check it out. Okay, first what we're going to do is, as Shawnee said here, how to make a circle into a square. So stack your two spinach pancakes, like they look like lily pads, on top of each other. Take a knife and just cut down the center of both of them. And then we're gonna take one circle and lay it down. And lay it over again. Next step, we have our mushroom duxelle. We're gonna pop this across the center and just spread it out. This again is that wonderful base flavors, that wonderful mushroom note that contrasts so nicely with the root veg and just carries that festive umami note. Okay, here's a nice tip just to get a nice cylindrical shape on your beetroot filling. So we're gonna lay it all out. Then we're just gonna roll it over. And play a little bit of roly-poly. This is great fun. I really feel like I'm allowing my inner child to come out and play roly-poly. Let's shake that sausage. Okay, it might seem like a little kind of insignificant step, but it really does help you just create that lovely shape and compact it and kind of draw excess moisture out. Another reason why we do it is just because the pastry can be a little bit fragile and we've gone all to that trouble to make that beautiful spinach pancake. We want it to hold its shape. Okay, so that looks about perfect. Now we're just gonna open it out and pop it on. Look at that. Now we're just gonna carefully roll this on. Wow, look at that. So we're gonna bake this on a baking tray. We've preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I put baking parchment on the bottom. The point to note here is that we're trying to bring it together, and the seam we're gonna put down on the side of this. Just make sure your hands are clean as you start to touch the pastry. Don't worry if you have to stretch it just to allow it to seal. Okay, so once it's sealed, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna chop the edge bits off just because I don't want excess pastry. Just be firm with it, own it, don't be afraid. Excess pastry we can use to shape some stars to go on the top. So take the pastry from here, pop it on the top. This is where you want to be. Lay it there, just on the top. And we're going to just be really carefully just roll it over. That was nice and smooth, wasn't it? Okay. Remove our pastry. Okay, so as I said, the top becomes the bottom, so we're just going to try to get these seams lovely and smooth. Okay, this looks really cool. I'm really excited. We're doing great. We've got a little bit of oat milk. I'm just gonna brush this across the top, just it's gonna allow it to golden up a little bit better. Try not to go too much, but just a little bit. Okay, now for the final bit, we've got one butter knife. I'm just gonna score it. Be careful here, understand what type of a pattern you want. I'm just gonna go nice and light. Okay, cool, we're gonna pop that in the oven. We've preheated, it looks beautiful. It's like it has scales on it. Sorry, I'm really excited. Anyway, we're gonna put this in the oven and bake it for about 30 minutes until it goes nice and golden and it's cooked all the way through. We've preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, just for anyone, in case you didn't hear me. Okay, we baked it for 35 minutes until it went nice and golden. It looks magnificent. It feels nice and crispy. I can't wait to see the inside and show you the inside. Okay, top tip when chopping a Wellington, make sure you have a serrated knife or a knife with teeth. It just makes it a lot easier for it to hold its texture. And when chopping, just let the teeth of the knife do all the work. Oh, look at that. Wow. Beautiful color, amazing texture. Okay, here we go. Time to slice this up and taste it. Again, let the teeth do our chopping. It serves really well, look at that. Oh, that looks fabulous. It really does, it presents magnificent. Okay, time for the taste test. Like you can see the cashew nuts add a lovely sense of texture to it. I want to get a nice chunk of pastry. There's so many flavors. Like you get a real flaky pastry, you get that lovely umami note of the mushrooms. There's a kind of soft gentleness from the spinach pancakes. And then the beetroot filling is just magnificent. Like that I genuinely think is the best Wellington we've ever made. Beyond it looking magnificent, it tastes even better than it looks. Serve that with our easy vegan gravy. There's a recipe, I'll put a link to it just here, or maybe here, or here, or here, or here, or somewhere on this screen. Anyway, thank you for watching this video if you made it this far. This is a magnificent dish, it's so worth trying. If you do want to learn more about us, we've got 8 different online courses all to help you to get healthier, learn how to cook vegan, whether to improve your gut health, your skin health, your heart health. We'll put a link down below. And thanks for watching this, hope you enjoy it. And if you do cook it, please tag us on social media. It's always lovely to see people cooking our dishes. Anyway, lots of love and hope you enjoy the dish. Cheers!